Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Audionautic. I'm Curtis.
And I'm Sunwarper. How's the move going?
It's alright, it's a bit of a sad day today. I have put my guitar up for sale.
Oh, that makes my heart hurt.
I know, me too, mate, me too. I don't think it will sell. I think it will probably end up going to my father-in-law's and sitting in there for 6 to 8 months before I come back and visit the family. Maybe that is just wishful thinking.
Wait, you're not going to ship it to Czech?
Not straight away. I just can't afford it. At this stage, I just can't afford it.
Is the price different?
I'm sending a load of stuff anyway, and I'm sending stuff ahead, and I've maxed out. I've got 40 kilos of stuff. The synth, all my gear, pedals, interfaces, all that stuff. That's already packed and ready to go. I can't afford to send the guitar as well. I think it's an extra kind of $100, which, without going into it at the moment, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, $100 always makes a difference, man.
Yeah. So so basically, I've put it up for sale. I could do with a bit of the money. It's a shame, but I remember at the same time, it's not like a vintage kind of Fender. It's a Fender Strat, and it's a beautiful piece. It's my first Strat, and I will love it forever. It's a Mexican. I can pick up another one, you know. I'm using it as an exercise in getting rid of my materialistic way, should we say.
Yeah.
I've got guitars back home. When I moved to Czech, I've got them there. So that's been my thing.
It's good to remember that these things are just pieces of wood. I mean, they have sentimental value, and I was telling you a while ago, like, it'd be hard if I lost a guitar or if I had to sell one. But, I mean, in the end, though, you're right. It's a piece of, it's a material, like, you know, you can always replace it. Yeah, maybe you can't replace the sentimental thing but you'll always have the memory of what you have literal recordings of that guitar that you can always go back to.
I also have it painted on a nice oil piece, which I got done for Ebbs, Flows and Solos. So I mean, there is that as well.
Yeah, you could always grab that painting and just pretend to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it could work.
I'd probably
just
end up
play Ebbs, Flows and Solos. Just make sure it's mastered this time, and then just play along.
You still got growth about that, haven't you? That's still
I just had to sneak that one in, man.
I like the way to think about it. You're sitting up at night and just remembering. I'll just send you a message tonight and just remind you that it's unmastered.
Dude, that's why I don't sleep at night. I wake up and I'm just haunted by the thought that it's not mastered.
It's okay. As soon as I get to check, my friend, I will be mastering it, and I'll put it out for the anniversary and even do some physicals for it as well.
Oh, there we go.
So that's been my week. What have you been doing?
Somewhat similar. Getting ready for my move. A lot of stuff has happened that's making this month kind of difficult. So I'm just trying to... I had a couple days where it was a bit overwhelming, and I had to kind of sit and figure out, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to go about it. You know, just make like a schedule, plan of like a course, and follow through with it. And the stuff that goes awry, well, it'll go awry.
That's a good way of thinking about it. I mean, I usually, me and you, we're talking day in and day out.
Yeah.
I mean, something about something, whether it be this or our own work or even just chatting.
Yeah.
And I think it's been a few days. It's been a minute. I think it's the first time I've actually sat down with you this week, which is it's a testament to how busy you've been, I suppose.
You too. Yeah, we've both been so busy. It's sometimes you gotta take a step back from stuff, you know.
Who knew setting up a media network based around electronic music would take up a lot of our time, effort, and energy?
I don't know. It doesn't sound difficult to me.
No, man. Do it in your sleep.
That is a bit of sarcasm in case that doesn't come through.
I got you. It's cool. I mean, in all seriousness, we set this up and we're going through with it and we're pushing through and it's going really well. And then we realize that we have real lives and things are happening, you know, and it's just nice to see that. I mean, we're not doing this alone, you know, we're doing this, we're halving the work, and we got each other's backs while we do it, and it just makes things a lot easier, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of comes back to when we collaborate on stuff together, like, you know, we have that extra set of ears to run things through each other and go, oh yeah, that is sick, yeah, that works, and then, you know, your song is stronger because of it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no way that this could be doing if it weren't for the fact that we're both like pitching in.
Yeah. And
I think as well from a sense of that positivity as well, as in having your back and wanting the best result that you can do, and stepping, like you say, having someone there who wants the best for you as well as the best with you as well. It really helps. To kind of get that done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
definitely.
On that very natural segue, we sat down with Adam from Bad Back Records this week, didn't we?
That we did. I had to pause because, I mean, it wasn't this week, but it's also this week.
Oh, well, the paradox is what
Oh.
the paradox is, my friend.
True.
But yeah, so we didn't sit down with an artist this week. We sat down with Adam from Bad Bat Records, who, as the namesake goes, is the head honcho of Bad Bat Records.
Talking with Adam and Bad Bat Records, the label, is a culmination of Rotation 2. We started with Steven, who first talked about radio and the issues he has with radio for artists, but he also talked about why he just recently signed with the label, Music as a Devil. Then we talked with Fran, Forest Robots, who just recently signed with the label to put out the physical for After Geography, and he spoke about why he did it and how it changed the course of After Geography. And so now we're talking with a label to figure out, from a label's perspective, why sign with a record label in 2020.
On that notion, what is Bad Bat Records?
Bad Bat Records is an eclectic label supporting independent artists, dabbling in electronic and ambient music.
Excellent. Beautiful. That's a nice, concise bio as any. If we're in a consistent analysis of other people's bios and definitely not looking at our own.
You thinking of condensing yours to a couple sentences there?
Maybe. I mean, I keep changing mine on a near weekly basis, just as.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can't settle on it. Like, some days I go for the corporate, sometimes I just go for the whatever. Sometimes I'm just like bang information. I can't really settle.
Do you alter it like on your socials and everywhere every week, or are you just doing it like on a note? It's
usually the Instagram one which changes. The one on my Spotify is fairly consistent because that's like a long form like kind of thing.
Oh, so you're talking like your summarized bio. Yeah, see, I just keep mine the same almost for the summaries. You just keep it a little imaginative, boom. But I do change my bio about every time I do like a big release, like an album or something, but it doesn't change much.
On that note, shall we cut to Adam's feed?
Let's do it.
Hi guys, you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Thanks very much for inviting me across. I appreciate it.
No, not
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Michael, do you want to kick us off today?
Yeah. So, what was the basis for starting Bad Bat Records?
So basically, the kind of premise of putting Bad Bat Records together was that when I started university in 2008, I was only 18 years old, and I was writing music, and I was seeing. I don't know if you guys know where there's a guy called Matt Stevens who plays on guitar. He does a lot of looping on guitar, and he was putting his music out there, and I was thinking about different ways I could get people involved in my music. And I started to release music, and I released the first set of songs, and it was really, really successful. Loads of people were interested, and it was great. And then kind of from there, I was releasing other stuff, and very naively, especially at that stage, because things weren't anywhere near as developed as they are now. You're talking, 12 years ago. A lot has changed since then. And during that period, I was just sort of putting music out there and naively expecting that people come listen to it. And in reality, they didn't. So as that kind of like went on, I was thinking, what can I do? How can I get people engaged in this music? Because I feel like the music I was making had some merit. I feel like that there definitely was an audience out there for it, but it just wasn't getting the recognition that I felt it sort of deserved. And I had quite a close knit of friends on sort of that I'd met through Twitter, and we'd met through other online platforms similar to the things we do on Discord, things that we do on other media platforms as well. And some of their music as well was really, really good, way better than mine. And they weren't getting the recognition either. So I was thinking, what can I do? And as my sort of my day job and my career has developed, that's given me less opportunity to sort of write my own music. Then having children as well, and one of my children is disabled, so it takes up a lot of my time looking after her, and just more and more I was finding myself absolutely knackered, but not being able to sort of do any music. But I wanted to be involved in it, so I began to have a conversation with my wife, and sort of was looking around saying, well, I want to do something that can get me involved in music. And I've played in bands previously, but again, the dedication or the time that takes up, I want to be dedicated to it, but just finding myself not being able to. So as a consequence of that, I began to look and see what I could do, and that's kind of where really the idea of the label came from. And again, naively, because it was 4 years ago that the label sort of started, and it was probably about 5 years ago that the planning of that kind of started as well. It was definitely about a year's worth of planning involved in getting a label going, and I was looking around thinking, there can't be that many people that are doing this. And then I started to look and went, oh my God, actually, there's loads of people that are doing it. So kind of really that's kind of where the story came from. And I was just thinking about different styles of music that were similar to mine that I knew people would eventually like, but finding a way that I could get people interested in them. And really, I suppose the only way was to kind of create this really like a brand or a persona around the music. You know, this is our label and this is what we do. If you like this type of music, come to us and you'll be able to experience lots of it and you know, and think about different ways that we can promote it. I mean, there's so much music out there nowadays. I think there's something like 35 million hours worth of music or something ridiculous. You know, but there's so much worthwhile music out there for people to listen to, and I just wanted to help give other artists that opportunity to have their music heard, and that's kind of really where the label came from, or the idea of the label came from.
Because, like you say, that there's many number of people making record labels. But I mean, that's been a constant throughout time. That's nothing special to where we are now.
True.
What sets Bad Bat Records apart from the others, should we say?
So the idea of the label is to make sure that we're fair to the artists as possible. Now, I know that lots of other independent labels will say the same thing. Maybe obviously the major ones wouldn't. They're more interested obviously in the money side of it. But I suppose the aspect is that the person running the label is an artist themselves, and I won't say which artist, but I actually do release my own music on that label as well. So there's a little sneak pseudonym on there. You know, so if I'm releasing my own music on my own label, I want other people to get the same sort of experience that I want. You know, I want people interested in the music. So obviously being an artist myself and having a degree in music as well, I understand how independent musicians feel. You know, they want the backing of someone to help them get their music heard, but they don't necessarily want to give all their rights to their music away. And I completely understand and kind of respect that. And that's kind of really where the label comes in. You know, we can collaborate with the artist and we have a vision for the release. The idea is that, you know, we help them with all aspects of the release. So the artwork, the distribution, creating the physical music. You know, that's something that we started. It's something that we always intended to do, but it's something that I wasn't able to sort of finance until the last few years. But beginning to release cassette tapes and you know, it's such a unique way of listening to music. It's got a completely different feel to anything else. It's cheap to produce, so it's you know, it's good in that respect. It means that when people buy, it's cheap as well. But the whole idea is that, you know, we get on board with what the artist is trying to create. And we obviously, you know, give them some ideas about what they can do to sort of enhance their music or enhance the release. And it's very much about, you know, the release is a big thing. Releases for me shouldn't just be I'm just pop a couple of tunes out and that's done. You know, it needs to be built up into a particular way that this is the release and these are all the things that you're going to experience as part of that. So that's hopefully what people get from our label as opposed to maybe some other labels.
In preparation for this meeting, I had a look at the page. I mean, you, like I say, you do everything that you have there. You create all the artwork and you promote the artist coming through in that sense. I mean, I think the artwork is stunning, to be honest. I was looking at Wolfgang Mertz's yesterday for Cosmic Sonics, and I don't know if you've got a kaleidoscope thing going on or if it's Photoshop or anything, but I mean, it's beautiful. It fits Wolfgang's work really, really well, and it is really nice in its own right.
Yeah, I'll be honest, essentially a lot of the artwork that we use is free artwork. So basically I don't necessarily have the means all the time to sort of make the artist or the artwork ourselves. But what we do is definitely design it. Now we'll give credit where credit's due to any footage that we use or any photos or anything like that. But we generally, I scour the internet and I look for photos or images that will work with the music, and they're all free. They're all Creative Commons. So I use a platform. I don't know, I'm dubious to say about what platform I use to create our artwork because it feels like it's a little bit of a hidden secret. But lots of people might want to use it. But
right. Keep the secrets there. That's fine.
But that is the idea that essentially, you know, the first thing that someone's going to look at, generally speaking, before they hear your music, is the artwork. Now we are really strict on this, and I don't really shift too much on this. And I will say to artists if their artwork is bad, and I do get sometimes when people send stuff through to us, sometimes the artwork just does not complement the music at all. So make a very, very, it's one of the there's not very many points that we're quite strict on. We allow our artists to collaborate with other labels if they want to. They can collaborate with other artists if they want to. Literally, the only thing we ask them to do is just let us know, and then it's not a major issue at all. But artwork in particular is something that we're really, really strong on. If your artwork is rubbish, I will tell you, and you'll have to change it. And if you don't want to change it, then I'll make something for you, because it is the first thing that people are going to see. And I think, like you say, you can get that from the page. When you look at the artwork on the page, you can get the idea that actually it's quite distinct, and that kind of as well comes from really, I can never pronounce his name correctly, but think of Storm Thorson, who's the Pink Floyd art worker or collaborator, and he's done loads of other people as well, Audio Slave and loads of others, Muse and Biffy Clyro and all that kind of thing. But that artwork is absolutely stunning. And some of those images, like, stay with me. In particular, like Animals by Pink Floyd. I'm a massive Pink Floyd fan, but that artwork is in my opinion, just amazing. Such a genius idea, and that image just sticks with me. So that's kind of what we're trying to create a little bit.
Yeah, I like that you have that approach, because the artwork, like you're saying, it's the first impression that someone who's checking you out on Bandcamp or on Spotify is going to see before the music, before anything. So you really want to get it right. That's a really good outlook to have for the record label, to just be very striking in all the artwork. We're talking a little bit about you signing artists and things like that. So I want to get to that point. How do you sign artists? And if you take submissions, what's the best way for an artist to approach you?
Well, when we first started, initially I wanted the label to be eclectic. I mean, I'm like most people's music tastes, I think, are quite eclectic now, especially considering that there's so much easy access to different styles of music. But it turned out that from working with the label and doing those kind of releases, but that was definitely the wrong approach. It was really obvious that trying to release electronic music on a label that wanted to release rock music or heavy rock music, it just wasn't going to work. So I basically then narrowed it down to, well, what's the music that I create? Electronic music. Let's kind of go with that. Now there's kind of a couple of different ways. We're on a couple of different websites where we basically promote ourselves in, we are a music label and we're interested in artists getting in contact with us. So we get a lot of emails and we respond to those as best we can. Quite often we do get stuff that isn't necessarily appropriate or doesn't fit in with the style, but every now and then we do. More recently, we've had a lot of artists who know the label, who have got friends who are other artists who basically are looking for a label to release, so they will recommend people to us, and obviously we'll check them out. We do get SoundCloud's quite a good one. We get quite a lot of sort of people send us stuff through SoundCloud and sending links. When people email, they'll send links as well, which is great. Press release kits. We look, essentially what we're looking for really is for sort of professionally produced electronic music that essentially we like the sound of. Sometimes I will act as kind of like an A&R. I will go and obviously I listen to loads of music, and sometimes it's stuff that I really, really like. So Godton, who we've just signed recently and has just had his first single release on the label, I actually went and found his music and happened to come across it, and I thought it was incredible, and I couldn't believe that not that many people had sort of heard of him and were listening to him. So I had a quick chat and sent him a message and sort of said, if you're ever interested in working with a label, I think that your sound would fit the label really, really well. Here it is, and check it out. I always, whenever an artist is interested in working with us as well, I always send them out a bespoke. It's a bit like a bespoke plan. So I'll send them loads of information about the label and talk to them about the different stages that we take and what we do and kind of what we're about. And then it's kind of in their court, really. So that's generally kind of the main ways that we go around it.
Once you've signed an artist and you're working with that artist, you mentioned that you do physicals. Do you do much on the promotion side of things?
We try to do as much on the promotion side of things as possible. I mean, I will admit that is one area that it takes up so much time doing the promotion side of it, and it's something that we need to develop a little bit more, definitely. There's always things that you can do to improve. We do send some stuff out to different radios and like independent radio shows and reviewers and that kind of thing. The issue that I really have with that essentially is it's just time. But with that, what we normally do is essentially we'll collate a couple of different. So for a release, we'll collate a couple of different videos. We'll obviously do the artwork and that kind of thing, and we'll send posts out. As part of that, we do always say to the artist that yes, the label will support you with promotion, but it's also worthwhile that you are trying your best to promote your own music as well. You know, and there's different ways that we tell people to do that. We obviously do pre-orders as well. We have quite a few followers on Bandcamp now, so we'll send out Bandcamp messages, you know, whenever we have a release and people get notified. We've got a list of emails. One thing that I'm looking to do soon is start sending out a weekly or monthly, depending on time, newsletter, which, you know, I think would be worthwhile, and talking about the releases that we've got.
What is your goal when you do Facebook and Instagram ads? Like, is it clicks? Is it plays?
Really, it's getting people onto the website, actually getting people onto the release. So normally when we do them, it's always a buy now or a shop here button. The idea is to get people to actually come to look at the music and you know, and basically engage with it. The useful things about it are that you can obviously target. So targeting is quite good. You can look for people that already have the interests in the genre of music. So hopefully that will encourage them to go there. And you know, and at least from a data point of view, it will give you data on, you know, where were people clicking on it. You know, what countries were interested in it, what demographic of people were interested in it as well. So that's always useful, especially when you're then thinking about future releases. You know, who am I then targeting, you know, this music at? Who's likely to try and buy it? Because let's face it, it's probably easier to get people to listen to it. It's way more complicated to get people to try and buy the music. You know, and really that's kind of what we're after. We do want people to try and buy the music.
Completely. I mean, in a day where people are spending £10 a month on Spotify, or £15 a month on family Spotify, no one wants to buy a music anymore. I mean, the money, if you go into Bandcamp or something and you go and buy a track, it helps the artist tenfold. But no one wants to do that anymore. Everyone wants to pay their £10 and then get the unlimited streaming for whatever it is. It's a very precarious situation to be in.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to get my head around it. Like, you know, I'm a dinosaur in that respect. Like, I've got stacks of CDs, I've got some vinyls as well. You know, if I can, because I'm a family man. I'm the only person who works at the minute, unfortunately, because of our current situation. So I don't have loads of money, but when I do, I love going to buy CDs, and you know, that thing you've got it physically, you've got it there, and you know, you can always keep it. You know, if I've downloaded 200,000 tracks to my computer and you know they all go, like, they're gone forever. I'm never going to get them back. Whereas at least the physical side of it, I like selecting CDs. I suppose maybe what it boils down to is I like the album. I like listening to albums, whereas let's face it, lots of people don't necessarily, or not in the same way anymore. They like to listen to tracks. You know, and I think even for electronic artists, it's interesting because it's evident that, you know, lots of people at the minute, I've said to someone recently, like, when are you releasing your next album? Oh, well, I'm not. Well, what are you doing then? Oh, I'm just releasing singles for now. And like that idea of, you know, sometimes, yes, a single's great. Some tracks are really good and you want to play that one track again and again and again, but it's not the same as an album. It's just not.
I mean, it's the result of, you want to put out as much as you can, as often as you can, to get it out there. So you put a single out, then another single, and then another single, and it's just, there's no narrative, there's nothing, you know, you're not, just loses that special feeling to it, you know?
That's it. And for the artist and for the label, like, release day should be the special feeling. You know, release day should be the, you know, our album's out now, like, we've got it, I physically got it in front of me, like, a couple of days before it's about to be released. You know, other people are going to get this, you know, it's really exciting. I've got some really cool videos that kind of represent what the music is about and that kind of thing. So yeah, so for me, like, you know, maybe we are one of a kind in that respect. I don't know, but yeah, for me, it is about that sort of physical release and that album or EP. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the single releases, at least not at the minute.
I maybe it's me being naive and maybe it's me being optimistic, but I like to think at least that we'll come back to this time when people will go and they'll put a full album on, sit and listen to it for half an hour and just be one with it, as opposed to having it on in the background, that kind of thing, and sticking it through.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, there's just no experience like it. You know, had a hard day, come in, choose a CD, sit down, turn the lights off, pour yourself a drink, and just chill out to it. You know, engage with it. There's no better feeling than that.
Bad Bat as a label seems to be still very much about albums. And you just released a compilation album, Ascension, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I was reading the description and I noticed that it said you gave a theme to each artist to use as like a springboard. What inspired you to try that sort of narratively linked album approach with different artists?
It's something that we often try and do on the label. Look at some of the best concept albums that have been released and how kind of successful they are. But it's the reason why they're often successful is because they normally have some sort of correlation or some sort of link to how people feel. So, like, as an example, and again, I'm going to use my Pink Floyd analogy again. But if I say the words "The Wall," what does The Wall say to you? You know, that album is 41 years old this year, and yet loads of people will know what the cover looks like. They know what some of the artwork looks like. You know, they know what the concepts of that album are, and just that link between a theme, some words, and essentially what that connotates, has a link to people. So so you're right. So we gave them the title of Ascension, and I sort of said it's basically about whatever ascension means to you. So what does that word ascension mean to you? What hits your imagination when you think about that word? I shared the artwork with everyone as well to kind of give them the ideas about what visually what it might represent. And I feel like albums work a lot better when they have a concept to them, because it just makes tying in all the promotional elements that bit easier as well, for the audience as well as kind of the artist, and for people to kind of get on board with what the release is about. It's very, very easy to then begin to link these themes with artwork, link them with videos, and different songs within the piece. It's something I've always done when I've been writing my own music as well. And I think for me as well, one concept that I find very easy, but I don't know whether other people do, is that even though I'm writing instrumental music, that doesn't mean it can't have a theme. And if you look at the beginning of music, really, or Western classical music, they had themes in them. So it seems the right thing to sort of to be pushing, especially as well if we're pushing albums. It's maybe a lot easier for an album to have a theme than it is perhaps for a single, or a correlation of different themes within an album. So that's kind of really where we kind of go with that. But I think a lot of that, again, comes back to that artwork, and that artwork being really good, and that artwork having, giving some inspiration as to what the music represents.
With the modern industry, or the modern music industry as it is today, where it is so accessible for artists to promote their own music and to release their own music on things like DistroKid and a CD Baby and stuff like that, where does that leave the role of the record label? Because the record label doesn't have the best of images at the moment.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think artists can make distribution work for them very easily. But I think there's still this true element that an artist with a label backing them has more weight behind it than just kind of going alone. I'm definitely a firm believer in that. And whilst it is easy to distribute music, I think it's fair to say that some artists don't quite know how the best way of going about it will kind of get them the best result. And I talk from my own experience of that. When I was first starting out, I was seeing people who were on Spotify and it was iTunes at the time as opposed to Apple Music, and I was thinking, how the hell do you get your music on there? But I think the other thing that people don't realize is that there's a cost involved, and obviously it depends on what you're releasing and how often you're releasing it, that there is a cost involved there. I think it's fair to say that labels quite often are able to provide extra features as well to help support the artist. So as a label, we get a lot more stats than what just a regular artist would who's putting their music out. We've got the ability to release as much music that we want when we want. So for any artist that's on our label, we can put out as much music as they want. And some artists, we've had some artists previously who they want to release like 10 different things within a year, which keeps us on our toes. I think as well that there's better use for us to be able to sort of share revenue. Now, for our label in particular, we don't take very much money from sort of streaming at all. I mean, streaming, it doesn't generate very much money anyway, but we try to keep it as fair as possible. But there are extra features as well, like some people, as far as I believe, I might be corrected on this, but as an example, on Spotify, you can use Canvas. So you can have images that are playing for different tracks. Now that's not available just to a normal artist, as far as I'm aware. That's only more available to labels. Now again, it's something that we've not yet sort of experimented with very much. But again, it's something on our radar that we want to push. I think what labels need to now do, though, as part of this process is basically we're more of a product management role. Yeah, we take on more of a management role. I suppose we're there to build the release. We're getting fans interested in the pre-orders. We're using links to pre-save. We're working on a theme for the releases, and we're helping them to brand the social media side of it. Doing that on your own is difficult, so it's helpful to have someone else on board to support that. And I think that's mainly where I see the label coming in. And I think that, or hopefully, especially with ours, and we're trying to work hard at this and continue to work hard with it. But we're hopefully getting the label's got some respect, and having an artist tagged to that hopefully provides them, with more opportunities than just sort of slogging it on their own. I mean, it's difficult when you're out there and you don't know which way to go, or you don't know how to get people involved in it. If you've got someone that's got experience of doing that, it's helpful. I suppose the key thing is that they're not taking you for a ride, when they're trying to help you, and it is that delicate balance. And this is why when we sign people, we give them so much opportunity to really know what the label's about and how they're going to be supported. It's then down to them about their decision about whether they want to take that or not.
Yeah, I mean, Curtis and I have this discussion all the time about why labels, and all the things you're saying also makes me think something that I've never thought about with the label is that it's another set of ears, or multiple ears, right? Like when you submit your music to them, you're saying, hey, I've done this. What do you think? You're not the only person just finishing it and putting it out. You have another set of ears critiquing it and saying, yeah, this is great. Or, maybe work on the production a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. From sort of early on, actually, it didn't really occur to me that when I'd listen to, so when people send you stuff and you listen to it and you go, yeah, that sounds really, really good. You never, when you first start on the label, you never think, oh, that's really good, but what about this? You just go, oh yeah, that's really good. Like, send it over. And all of the artists, when they send stuff over, to kind of get near that release, they all want to know what you think of it, and they all want the approval of the label, and that's quite nice. Some of the stuff that you can give them back, the feedback that you can give them can really help to improve the whole concept of the music or what the music's about. It's interesting as well that some of the artists, they'll send stuff over and go, would you mind actually trying to give this a mix for me? Like, I've tried mixing it and it just doesn't work. And if you're able to do that, which I've got experience of doing that, yeah, of course I can at least give it a try, or tweak this part. What do you think about this? This is what I've done. How do you think it sounds now? Is it better? Has that improved it? Same for mastering as well. Again, some of the releases that we've done, we've mastered them ourselves as well, and just it's such a unique collaboration that the artist really wants this piece of music that they've worked really hard on to be perfect. And then you feel that same level of dedication because you're releasing it on their behalf, so you want it to be as perfect as well. But yeah, and we know as artists, you want someone else to listen to it who's going to appreciate it for what it is, but also tell you honestly, what does it sound like? Is there something that can be improved on? So that's definitely a really, really good point. Yeah, that's definitely what labels should be doing. If they're not doing that, then they should be. I mean, I don't know whether this is worthwhile adding in, but one thing I will say, just for anyone who's out there looking for a label, there's a couple of little nitpicks that I have. So I've had a couple of these where people contact me and they'll say, I've just released this album. It's great. Will you think about signing me to your label? And I go, well, what's the point? You've already released the music, so there's nothing that I can do to help you here. There's nothing I can really do to support you. If you're looking for someone to promote it, then you really need to go find a promoter to do that. The other thing that I also get is people email me and they say, hi, here's, this is my band name, and here's my music. And that is the end of the conversation. So they'll send me the band name, they'll send me a link to their music, but they don't tell me what they want me to do with it. So they don't say, we're really looking for a label, like we'd like someone to come support us, or we're looking for someone to help with distribution, or because I've started writing reviews, but again, time restraints. They don't say, oh, actually this is a piece for reviewing. One of the other things I find very, very frustrating is people don't know how to use or create their own press release kits. So a lot of times people will send me a very sort of basic email with a link on it that has no sort of correlation to anything, and I don't know where to go to find more information about them. I don't know where to go to find if they already have people interested in their music, if they're doing gigs, or if they're they've got other music out there. There are some great platforms out there for looking at for writing your own press release kits. Look at other people's press release kits if you're able to get hold of them. MailChimp's quite a good one to use for that. But yeah, think about if you're trying to make an impression to a label, and you want a label to have the same respect for you, and you want that label to come and help support you, then essentially a little bit, do your homework a little bit. I had one artist as well who previously said that we really want your help releasing music. Okay, well, this is what we do. This is the package we're going to put forward. And they said, oh well, we're not too worried about that. We're gonna go ahead and release it digitally, and then we'll do all the other bits afterwards. And we were sort of saying, well, that's not quite how it works. Exactly. We want to schedule it. This is how we want to do it. We want to give ourselves the time to make sure that people are aware of it before it gets released, and then move it forward. Think about your planning. Think about your scheduling. Think about how you going to get people interested in what it is that you want to create and what you want people to sort of get from your release and get from your music. And labels, if they know what they're doing, which most of them by now do, will really be able to help you with that.
So what do you look for when you get a press kit?
So what we're really looking for in a press kit is some element of professionalism within that. So we want a half decent photo of the artist or the band. We want some links to where we can find some more information about them. So links to their social media platforms, links to their music. If they've got some music that's already been released, then obviously like Spotify links or Bandcamp links or that kind of thing would be useful. If they've got music that they're preparing to release but isn't quite out there, then maybe something like SoundCloud. But it needs to look half professional. There's platforms like MailChimp that can help you, Canvas that can help you to create half decent press kits. But it just needs to have that element of a little bit of professionalism there. If you're sending us an email that just literally has a tagline of "This is your band and this is your music," that doesn't quite work for us. You need to be telling us about what direction you want or what you want from the label that you're trying to work with. So yeah, your press kit needs to be half professional. If you don't know how to start writing one, go and look on the internet. There are loads out there, and you can get some ideas and think about what else you can put in there to grab the label's attention. Imagine that we receive hundreds of emails a week, if not thousands a week, with people sending us stuff. If yours doesn't look professional, it generally, we're not going to look at it. We're not going to give it the time of day that it deserves.
That's very fair. So on that note, Adam, if an artist wants to find you to submit their music to you or whatever, where can they find you?
So the best place to find us really is on Twitter. We've got our email address on there. You can direct message us. Our email address, badbatrecords@gmail.com, is out on loads of different platforms as well. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook, so you can send us messages via those. We're on SoundCloud. You can check out links to the music on Bandcamp. All of the social media platforms will direct you to where the music is. Mainly our Bandcamp page that we use. So they're the best places to grab us, and we try to reply to all of the messages that get sent to us as best we can.
Excellent. Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming and sitting down with us today. It's been real fun talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I really, really appreciate it. It's been great. Thanks, guys.
Adam, I appreciate you coming on. You may have changed my mind about labels a little bit, because I've always wondered in 2020, what's the point of getting a label? You can do the distribution, you can do the promo, but there's certain things that you mentioned that I never thought about, and it's definitely opened my eyes a little bit to why someone may want to sign with a label still.
Well, thanks very much for having us. I really, really appreciate it. It's nice that people give recognition to the labels, because we work just as hard sometimes as the artist does. So I really appreciate you guys inviting us on, and it's been great to talk about what we do. And if you are interested, in hearing more about what we do, then check us out. Search for some Bad Bat Records, and all of our all of our various links will come up. But you can find our music on badbatrecords.bandcamp.com.
What an eye-opening conversation with Adam about the importance of a label in 2020.
I completely agree. Sitting there, just went in with all my skepticism.
Yeah, we had our biases, right?
Yeah, completely. No shame in it. I completely had my biases towards not being part of a label, but he has given some very, very convincing arguments as to what the point of a label is in 2020.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of these long-form talks is that, you know, we went in there with the idea of like, what really is a label going to do that you can't do on your own? And he told us pretty concisely, you know, they add that extra set of ears, they can help do the promotion, they can do physical, that's a big thing.
And it's nice as also, like you say, it's someone's got your back, someone who's there, who's objective and is there to help you. And I increasingly feel that there is a place for them to be. Interesting about the analytics as well.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they get more set of analytics through things like Spotify and things like that. So I mean that's incredibly useful to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's like, I think the Bandcamp label page gives more information too, but I think it's $20 a month or something, so you know there's cost factors in that, but that's the nice thing. If you join a label, they're covering that cost factor.
Well, we have to see where we can go, but it gives me hope for the future, especially with what things we've got in the pipeline coming through. It gives me a lot of hope for where we're going to go, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And on that note, we will wrap it up there. That brings Rotation 2's guests to a close. So we will be back next week with our roundup. But if you want to catch us in the meantime, we are on Instagram and Twitter at audionauticsounds and audionautic respectively.
Thanks for joining us. We'll have new episodes every Wednesday at 3 p.m. UTC.